and welcome to Online Business Uncovered. This is episode 154, and in today's episode I am going to be talking about how you can get started with growing your email list, especially if you are a service-based entrepreneur who has been relying mostly on social media for visibility. If you've been hearing people talk about email lists and thinking I should probably have one, but I absolutely have no idea where to start, then this is the episode for you. So let's jump right in and let's get started. Welcome to Online Business Uncovered, the show that lifts the lid on what it really takes to turn your brilliance into digital products, passive income, and time freedom. I am your host, Karen, an online business strategist, course creation expert, and your go-to for building a business that works for you and not the other way around. If you are an ambitious entrepreneur feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, or maybe you're just ready for a smarter, more sustainable way to grow, then you're in the right place. Because each week I'll be bringing you inspiring conversations, practical strategies, and step-by-step guidance to help you create scalable, repeatable digital products that sell even while you sleep. So if you're ready to stop trading your time for money, reclaim your time, and finally build a business that gives you the freedom that you deserve, hit subscribe and tune in every Thursday. Let's uncover what's truly possible for you, starting now. Hello and welcome to another episode of Online Business Uncovered, the show that helps you turn your expertise into digital products, passive income, and time freedom. I'm your host, Karen, and I really do appreciate you hitting the play button to listen to this episode. Now, before I dive into today's episode, I want to quickly let you know about an upcoming live training next week on the 19th of March. It's a free masterclass called How to Create Your First Passive Income Stream in Your Business. And in this session, I'm going to walk you through how you can start shifting your business away from relying solely on one-to-one work and begin building digital products or scalable offers that you can sell on repeat. Now, I'm going to be talking about how you can identify the right idea, how to validate it so that you're not creating something that nobody wants, and how you can start to build a simple system that allows you to sell it consistently. Now, if this is something you're interested in, then you can sign up by heading on over to my website, www.sellyourbrillianceonline.com, and you can also sign up by clicking the link in the show notes as well. As I said, it's completely free. Sign up today, get registered, and come along next week and learn how you can actually start making money on repeat. Right, okay, so let's dive into today's episode. Now, last week on the podcast, I talked about why your email list is one of the most valuable assets in your business. We spoke about the difference between social media followers and email subscribers, and ultimately why relying on algorithms can be risky, and also why email often converts better when it comes to sales. So last week's episode, we covered a lot of good stuff. But today I really want to focus on something a little bit more practical, because it's one thing talking about it, but it's another thing getting started. And I think something that people struggle with is taking the first step, especially if you are new to this. You know you need to be doing this, but you have no idea where to start. So today I'm going to be really diving into something a little bit more practical that is going to help you get started with creating that email list. And I think once you understand why email matters, I think the next question really is, but how do I actually get started with growing an email list of the right people? I have to add that, because sometimes I think people want to grow a list to high numbers, and actually it is really about the right people on your list so that you get a higher conversion when you do place an offer in front of them. And I know this is something that I think a lot of people kind of struggle with, but it is quite a simple process when you know how. And that's really what I'm going to try and break down for you today. So I just want to start by talking about one of the biggest mistakes that I often see entrepreneurs make. And that is expecting people to join their email list simply for updates. Now, the reality is that most people are super busy in their everyday lives and their inbox is already jammed full. So they need a really good reason to subscribe to your email list. And I don't think it's enough to say sign up for updates. Updates to what? What are you going to be sending them? So this is where a lead magnet comes in. Now, for those of you who don't know what a lead magnet is, it is a valuable piece of resource that you offer for free in exchange for somebody joining your email list. So it could be something like a guide or a checklist. It could be a short training. It could be a recorded workshop or webinar, or it could be something really simple like a template or a toolkit. Now, the goal of this is to help someone solve a very small problem, but that problem needs to be meaningful. For example, I used to have a freebie that I used in my branding studio, which was the ultimate branding checklist. And I got so many sign-ups just for this simple document. And all it was I think it was 2 pages of a list of everything that they needed to really be aware of when it came to making sure that their business had the right branding assets in place. And all they needed to do was work through the list and tick off each box as they completed it. And I got so many sign-ups, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sign-ups. In fact, when I was growing my email list in my branding studio, that was the one resource that really did help to grow that list. And it was really simple. It was just a list. It wasn't anything special. Yeah, okay, it was nicely designed because obviously branding studio, you'd expect that. But really, it was practical, it was focused, and it gave people a really clear starting point, and it removed any overwhelm because it was a list. So that worked really well. So if you are thinking about what you could create as a free lead magnet, start with something really simple. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. Just really think about what your ideal audience is going to want, what's going to help them get off the starting block. So it could be a checklist, a cheat sheet, it could be anything, but I would keep it really simple. The next step is having somewhere to store and manage your email subscribers. So this is where we're looking at platforms. Now, there are a lot of platforms out there. You've got MailChimp, ConvertKit, MailerLite, Kajabi, you've got all of those great platforms. I use a platform called System. I talk about System a lot on this podcast because I absolutely love it. Now, I've used other software before. I've used MailChimp, I've used MailerLite, I've used ConvertKit, I've used other things, and I've set email lists up for clients and, explored other options as well. And I have to say that my favorite by far is System. And I really like that because the platform is so easy when you understand it. When you adopt any platform or tech for the first time, there is going to be a steep learning curve. There's no getting away from that. But when you get to know it, you'll find that a platform like System has really thought about how everything works together. So I'm talking about having an opt-in page, a thank you page, a registration form, an email sequence, a campaign that you can run. All of these things matter when it comes to growing your email list, and you want to set your system up in a really simple way. So I found in my experience that System's probably by far the easiest platform. However, I know that there are others that are just as good, as I mentioned. I mean, for a long time, I used MailerLite. I really liked MailerLite. Didn't like MailChimp. Never liked MailChimp. Whenever I had a client that said to me, could you help me set my email list up using MailChimp? My energy would drop because I just found that platform so complex to use. It's not very intuitive. So I suppose I've picked System up with a history of using other platforms and being really surprised at how straightforward it is to use. And I think one thing that goes in favor of System is the automations, because when somebody comes into your email list because they've downloaded your freebie or subscribed to a newsletter or whatever, you can add a tag and you can add automations that enable you to set this up once and leave it. And in other platforms, it can be really complicated to go and find those automations and to set them up. And the amount of problems I've run into over the years where I've done this on other platforms. And what's been really lovely about System is that it's straightforward. I think simplicity wins every time. And so once you get used to how System works, setting things up can be really simple. It can be really easy and very quick as well. So there's a time-saving element there as well. Now, when it comes to choosing your email platform, don't overthink this part. What matters is that you have a system where people can enter their email address, receive your free resource, and then be added to your email list. Once that system is in place, then you have the foundations of your email list that's ready to go. So I think something that many people do here is really overcomplicate the system that they're going to be using. Obviously, I'm sharing my experience, but what I would encourage you to do is find a platform that works for you. Once somebody joins your list, that's where the real relationship is going to begin. So what I recommend is creating a really simple welcome sequence, which consists of a few emails. And these emails can introduce you and your work, how you help people. You can share your story or your journey within these emails. You can teach something valuable if you want to teach them a first step of something, and you can point people towards the next step. So you can signpost people to where you want them to go. Now, the purpose of this sequence is to help new subscribers understand who you are, how you help, and ultimately what you believe in. Because people are not going to buy from strangers. They're going to buy from people they trust. And it's really interesting because as I mentioned last week, I recently sent out a 5-day email campaign where I was promoting one of my products. And it was the feedback and the conversations that I had off the back of those emails that were really valuable. And people can sometimes be on your email list for years and not do anything, just consume your content. But when you present the right offer at the right time, they'll take action. And that's why it's really important that whatever you create, your freebie, your registration page, your thank you page, your messaging is directly linked to the audience that you want to attract, because that will then move them forward towards buying any offers you put in front of them in the future. Focus on getting the right people on your list. Don't just build a list in order to get numbers. Once you've got your free lead magnet, and this can be created in Canva. Canva is a really great tool that has a lot of templates that you can use. So, for example, if you like the idea of creating a really simple checklist, there will be checklist templates in Canva, and you can go choose a template and change all the details, like make sure it's your brand, your details, your messaging, your tone, all of that. But there's no reason why you can't start with a template and adapt it to suit you and your audience. So once you've got that free lead magnet, you can start setting it up so that people can download it. Now, this tends to be an area that a lot of people get stuck. what they often do is go ahead and create a free resource, and then they leave it sitting somewhere on their website expecting people just to find it. But your email list only grows when you are actively talking about it and sharing your page. If you are wanting to get email subscribers for your free download, then you need to be talking about it in your Instagram posts, in your LinkedIn content, in your podcast episodes, in your stories and your reels, your TikTok videos, your blog posts, everywhere. I would also even recommend adding it to the signature of your email, because every piece of content that you share with your audience is an opportunity to invite people deeper into your world, and what better place to start than with your free lead magnet. Now, I think one thing that is really important to mention is when it comes to email marketing, it is about building a list of the right people, not just growing a number. Everybody that comes onto your email list, they are a real person. They are a human. They're not a number. People who are curious about what you do, or who are looking for solutions, or who might one day become one of your clients or customers, are going to be in your email list. So instead of thinking about growing a list and that list just becomes a number that you start to focus on, think about your list as serving an audience. So in your emails, share ideas, share lessons, share insights from your own journey, because the more helpful and honest you are in your emails, the stronger those relationships are going to become, and the deeper the connections are that you're going to build. And as I mentioned, my 5-part email sequence that I did a few weeks ago, I shared my story over the 5 days, and I explained why I made the shift into the online business world and what that meant for me and what the challenges were that I faced as a service-based provider. And I really tried to be open with what I was sharing with my audience. And because of that, I was able to have those connected conversations afterwards with people that were on my email list. And I had numerous conversations with people that actually said, you know, I was reading your emails and I was sitting there nodding, because it was like you were reflecting back to me how I am currently feeling. And that is really powerful. If you can share your story in a way that connects you to your audience, and I'm not just talking about the good, I'm not just talking about bragging about the things that have gone really well for you. I'm talking about the things that you have struggled with and the things that your audience might be struggling with, and how you can relate to that and what you've done to combat that and make change. That becomes so relatable to your audience that they will want to connect with you and further that relationship. So when you're building your email list, really think about it as building an audience that you're going to connect with, that you're going to nurture, and that you're going to share things with. You're not just going to sell to, because everyone on that list is a person and they are experiencing something in their world that you can ultimately help with. And if you can connect what you do to the problems that they're experiencing and deliver it in a way that resonates with them, they will stay on your email list. So if you are listening to this episode and you've been putting off starting your email list, then this is the most simplest place to begin. Create one helpful free resource. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. Start with a checklist. Start with a cheat sheet. You could even record a 20-minute video that you want to share with your audience. Just start with one free piece of resource that you want to share. Connect it to an email platform like MailChimp, MailerLite, or System, and then talk about it consistently. I recently created a brand new freebie called Build One, Sell and Repeat, digital products for service-based providers. And the purpose behind this resource is to help people with coming up with ideas to get started, because often with the work that I do, that's where a lot of entrepreneurs struggle. They know they have this brilliance that they can make money from, but they just don't know what the first step is or how to even get started. And so that was the purpose behind this free guide that I created. And over the past few weeks, I've really been promoting it. And it's really interesting because every time I go into my system and I see on my dashboard, my numbers are growing, my email list is growing, and I have a 5-part email sequence that is fired off when somebody signs up. And this email sequence is designed to nurture that relationship, to tell a story, to share insights, to signpost them to the next step. So this system that we're building to grow our email list, it isn't just about gathering those numbers. It's about bringing the right people into our world, giving them what they need at the very beginning, and then nurturing them, building that relationship with them so that we can then guide them to the next step. In order to do this, I want to just stress that you do not need any complicated funnels, and you don't need a huge audience. You're going to build your audience. You just need a really clear starting point. So think of the one thing that your ideal person is struggling with right now, and what is the one thing that you could give them to take that first step towards a solution. That is your free lead magnet. Don't overcomplicate this. Keep it simple. The simpler, the better. It doesn't have to be a 100-page guide or anything like that. As I said, a simple checklist is more than sufficient if that is right for your audience. The most important thing that I want you to take away is just to keep it simple, because simplicity wins every single time. Now, if you would like some help taking the next step with this, then as I mentioned, I have created a free guide called Sell and Repeat Digital Products for Service-Based Entrepreneurs. You are more than welcome to download this guide, because inside this guide, I walk you through several different digital product models that you can create using the expertise that you already have so that you can start building income beyond your one-to-one work. So if you go to my show notes, you can download a free copy, or you can simply head on over to my website, www.sellyourbrillianceonline.com, and download a copy there. I hope you have found this episode valuable, because building an email list is the one asset in our business that is really going to make a difference. And when you start moving into that position of creating offers and selling offers, your email place is the one place that you need to start, because that's where you're most likely going to get your conversions. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope this episode has given you some clarity and sparked some new ideas for your business. Now, if you found this episode helpful, then please do share it with a friend or a fellow entrepreneur who's building their online business, because this episode might be exactly what they need to hear today. And if this episode has you thinking that you're now ready to get started with turning your expertise into repeatable income, then come along to my free masterclass next week on Thursday, the 19th of March at 5 p.m. UK time, where I'm going to walk you through how to get started. Head on over to my website, www.sellyourbrillianceonline.com, and you can register for free there. I will be back next week with another episode, but until then, have a wonderful week. Thanks for tuning into today's episode of Online Business Uncovered. If today's conversation has sparked an idea or gave you a dose of clarity, then please make sure to check out the show notes for all the links and resources mentioned. New episodes land every Thursday, so hit follow or subscribe to stay in the loop. And if you're loving the show, a quick rating or review goes a long way in helping more brilliant entrepreneurs like you find this show. Until next time, keep showing up, keep sharing your brilliance, and remember, freedom in business is possible, and it starts with taking the next right step.